Next on Channel 4's PM Magazine, we'll hear a blast from the past from a 28-year-old musician who plays music from the Roaring '20s.
Every once in a while, the music of the 1920s is brought back into the mainstream of popular music. Now, remember when this song from the 20s came back in the 70s? Of course, that's Scott Joplin's The Entertainer. And now Randy Newman has written the old-fangled score for the new movie Ragtime, which is also very popular. But for some people, the music of the Roaring '20s isn't just a passing fancy, it's a full-time, serious passion.
Yowza, yowza. It was the music that helped the 20s to roar. Step back with us now to that decade when liquor was prohibited. All the dancers flapped their wings, and you had to suddenly watch out for machines in the road instead of horses. Bands played, the likes of which had never been heard before. Paul Whiteman, Fletcher Henderson, Vic Spiderbeck, Gary Lawrence and his Sizzling Syncopators. Wait a minute, who was that? Gary Lawrence and his Sizzling Syncopators, who actually aren't a Roaring '20s band at all, but a 1982 group playing tribute to the sounds of yesteryear.
How'd you do? We're taking you to the Roaring '20s.
I find a very, very interesting thing that no matter what type of mood you're in, if you sit down for 10 minutes and you listen to this music for the 1920s style, I mean, you just have to be happy. There's no way that you can avoid it.
The Roaring '20s, the Roaring '20s.
You might think that a 28-year-old professional musician would enjoy performing the music of the Rolling Stones, Blondie, or even Adam and the Ants, but not Gary Lawrence. His group generally won't even perform a song unless it was written before 1930. All of the tunes they play have been arranged by Gary. He alone writes every note that each of the 10 instruments in his group will play. He gets the basic melody down on sheet music by playing along with old records, and he has quite a few to choose from. He's put together an incredible collection of discs covering the music of the 20s, including some original 78s.
The difficulty with listening to the music of the 1920s is the quality of the original discs sometimes is incredibly poor. And it really involves a great amount of patience sometimes, because naturally we're all accustomed to, the state-of-the-art technology of stereo recording, and to sit down and listen to some of these old shellac 78s is pretty trying at times.
But his love for the sounds of that era keep him hard at work to constantly improve the group that started just for the fun of it in a Manhattan loft 9 years ago, and has gone on to record 2 albums and play virtually every resort in the Catskill Mountains of New York. Even though the music is from another age, one term that Gary hates to be associated with is nostalgia.
Now, nostalgia for me is, say, the Beatles concert at Shea Stadium in '64. That's the nostalgia for me. But this music is definitely not nostalgia. To me, it's something brand new. I was born over 30 years after this type of music was played. So to me, it's a totally new type of music, and it's a brand new sound, as far as I'm concerned.
When he's not working on new arrangements, Gary is on the phone with booking agents.
This will be for the 23rd, you say?
Getting more jobs for the band. But sometimes he likes to sit back and brush up on his music history. With the sounds of early jazz in the background, the pictures of Joe Sanders, Ben Pollack, and Bill Chalice inspire Gary to continue his work to bring their music to ears that may otherwise never know the sounds of the 1920s.
To actually have lived back in the 1920s would have been very, very difficult. However, from an artistic standpoint, I would really have liked it because of all the musical changes taking place and all the innovations in the entertainment field that really made life fascinating for a performer back then. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
It might just as well have been 1921. About 1,000 people gathered at Hollywood's outdoor bandshell in Young Circle to enjoy the music of days long past. Some came to play along. Others came to dance, and some just came to reminisce. But the most interesting point of this concert is one of the songs being performed. It's called Hollywood by the Sea, and it's one of the few songs the Sizzling Syncopators performed that was written after 1930. In fact, it was penned by an amateur songwriter in 1951 for a contest to find a city song for Hollywood, Florida. It won the contest and was first performed at this very same bandshell during its opening ceremonies 30 years ago. And listening to the song, it's not hard to imagine yourself back in those early days of Florida.
We love to live in Hollywood, where life is gay and free, where flowers bloom the year around, and sunshine each day you will see. The finest city in the world, to that you will agree, where palm trees sway and moonlight beams, in Hollywood by the sea. Take it away, Joe.
And how do the band members feel about working under such a young maestro?
Oh, it's marvelous. For that era, it's wild, man. It was a real tough transition and played a 20 style, but with Gary's writing and stuff, it turned out very well. And it's been a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
So, as another balmy night descends upon South Florida, and the band strikes its final chords, we bid you adieu from beautiful Hollywood by the Sea, where you've been listening to the swell sounds of Gary Lawrence and his Sizzling Syncopators. Until next time, farewell.